down. Better. Welcome, Boris. This is Chicks. This is Michelle and Leah coming to you. It's April 25th, 2017.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on in the world today. We want to try to make some sense of it. This
is bio.
I just saw one of our viewers sent this to me.
John Peter.
And I want to vomit inside of my mouth. And I was actually really disconcerted by the comments on the Guardian article that I read concerning this, because they were like, oh, it's no big deal. Here's the thing. Macron is married to a woman who is essentially 24 years, 8 months older than him.
And you know what? On the surface, I can sort of go with that. Okay, fine.
I wouldn't say this. Okay, yeah, it's weird, it's stupid,
but whatever.
It's really, really stupid and weird. However, I'm going to go over some of these,
how did this come to be?
He was 15 years old at this Jesuit Catholic school.
Of course, he was at a Jesuit school.
France, right? And his teacher is this, she's like a language teacher, drama teacher, whatever, and they meet then. And she was usually enamored with him. So she
was enamored with him.
Exactly. They meet together and they flesh out this play. They meet every Friday. Well, come to find out that his parents were so upset about this relationship that they sent him to another school away from her in Paris. And
not good enough.
In this, there was a book actually written about this, and the author interviews Macron's parents, and I guess they've kind of accepted her now. But journalist Anne Fulda said that when her name is the woman's name is
the teacher
Tronju.
That's it.
Right here, Tronju.
Yeah.
Anyways, when the parents were asked about this, they said, we couldn't believe it. What is clear is that when Emmanuel met Brigitte, her name is Brigitte, we couldn't just say that's great. She later confronted Brigitte Tronju, saying, don't you see, you've had your life, but he won't have children with you.
That's a good mama.
It says that Emmanuel's parents were not keen, were keen on emphasizing that they did not lodge a complaint against Brigitte for corruption of a minor.
Why not?
And Brigitte goes on to say that nobody will ever know at what moment our story became a love story that belongs to us, that is our secret. But she does say that, and I've read like 5 or 6 different articles putting these pieces together. She says that we were falling for each other. We were falling in love. And
can you get to the other punchline?
Which other punchline?
The fact that she was married with 3 kids.
Well, yeah, and she was married with 3 kids. And what's actually even more disgusting,
it's one more,
is that she's got a son who's 2 years older than Macron. And her daughter was actually in the same class as Macron, and the parents actually thought at first that Macron was interested in the daughter because that would be normal. Now, this sounds all gossipy and blah, 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 but no. There's a fetish here in America, and every time I see one of these stories, which is like every other day, I want to just go vomit. Okay, and these women teachers in their 20s and 30s, and obviously she was 40, they see and they prey upon these young minds, and they twist them because they are not obviously confident in themselves, that they have to prey on. It's like
children,
a puppy, okay? And like they have to go get these puppies so that they can train them to be the men that they want.
Well, it's one thing to get a puppy and then raise it like your child. It's another thing to get a puppy and raise it like your lover.
Yeah, it's so. And to me, if the French vote for this guy, I almost want to say, okay, I'm sorry.
I give up on the whole world.
I give up on France, because the French have always been known for like weird sexual things, okay?
Yeah, they're a little risque.
The fact that they they see this and they don't see a problem with it is a real big problem for me. Because if you're president of the United States, or sorry, if you're president of France, your leader of your country, doesn't see a problem with a 40-year-old falling in love with, you can't fall in love with a 15-year-old when you're 40 years old.
But you know what, Leah? This is exactly what we've been saying for years. It's part of the agenda. As soon as you start making gay marriages a thing, okay, then the very next step from that, and I know I'm going to offend a lot of people here, but the next step there is to legalize child molestation, as long as the child is willing. And you guys have heard this. We have presented that to you. It sounds completely out the wall, and so many people are like, no, there's no one out there like that. No one would say that.
Here's the thing. I was
We've got a case
involved
right here.
in a lot of youth group. Okay, growing up, I worked with kids. I was a youth. Okay, I was in these youth groups, and to think of a 40-year-old hooking up with a 15-year-old makes me want to hurl, or even a 16-year-old, or even a 17-year-old. The parents were quoted as, they said, stay away from our son until he's 18 years old at least. And she, in tears, said, I can't make any promises. And it just, this is beyond despicable. And there's always these weird guys on these things, and these teachers do this. It happens all over Cincinnati, these female teachers.
Oh, yeah,
do
it's
this.
ridiculous.
It's in the papers and the news all the time.
And if the roles were reversed, and it was a man and a girl, you had better believe people would be up in arms.
And this is what really disgusts me, is that a lot of guys really pervertedly say, oh, well, if I was a teenager, I would have da-da-da-da-da, and I would have loved it, blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing, what you don't recognize is that the female, the woman who would do this
is disgusting.
Is so mentally deranged that no teenager should be allowed around them. Period.
Okay, now listen. You men may not be able to comprehend this, and I'm hoping that most of our viewers can. But if you're a new viewer, I don't know you from Adam, and I don't know if you can comprehend this, all right? But as a female, I am 33 years old, okay? When I see a 15-year-old, I see a child, okay? That is normal.
Anyone who is in my age group, who sees kids in high school as freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, who sees them as a sexual toy, is really, really messed up and needs to be in prison. There are lines that you don't cross, and it's called, and then people say, well, if they're over puberty, then it's not pedophilia anymore. I don't care what word you want to label it.
It
is disgustingly wrong. This woman now, and he's quoted as saying, she made me who I am. Well, duh. She took this boy,
This is nothing.
and molded his mind. Dude, I'm 36 years old. This woman was 4 years older than I am when she met a 15-year-old. This is, I have been thinking about this, and I want to reach in and pull people's eyeballs out. I'm so angry about this. The fact that this man can't be your president because he is a broken person.
And he's going to allow this same thing.
And no wonder he's so broken. He can't stand up for your stupid country. I'm sorry, you can't stand up for your great country. He can't stand up for it because he can't even stand up for himself. Okay? I don't care if they're 24 years apart and he was, in his 20s and got hooked up. No. Here's the thing. He got molded. He was groomed. Now, here's the thing. When they talked about, like, the grooming gangs, you can groom. They say that boys are 3 years younger in their minds than girls. So, go with me. When the Rotherham guys were picking up 14 and 15-year-old girls and grooming them,
everybody was
Macron, I don't care how intelligent or how wonderful he is, developmentally, he's younger. He's a dude. He's a guy. He still has to develop. Okay? So she picked him, and she groomed this child. He was a child. The fact that she could even see him as anything other than a child, as a protected, it's just the same as you have to, teachers are they're supposed to be mother-like hens. What mother wants to whatever with their child? This is blowing my mind.
Okay, Patriot Gallery, welcome.
Well, the way you see it as a cult leader.
Yeah, exactly.
She is a cult leader. A cult leaders get them young. A cult leader's trying to get girls young. And so she's a cult leader. So she controls everything he's singing, everything he's doing behind the scenes. She's a witch, and she's controlling his mind. And so if you were to have him as your president, she actually
That's
would
what I've
be
been
your
thinking about all
president.
day. That's what I've been
And
thinking
you
about
would
all
be
day.
led by an
Yep.
occultist.
Yep.
A cult leader. The whole
If the
country
French
would
people
come
can't
under her
see that
cult.
he's even said, when you elect us, he goes, when you elect me, he goes, no, forgive me. When you elect us, he says, she's not just been passive, she trains him on how to speak. She's a theater guru. She has trained a puppet. She trained him. It's an act. It's a farce. You guys, friends, please listen to me.
Okay.
He's a puppet.
All right, take 5. So here's the thing. I didn't find out about this until today. And the other day, you guys, if you watched me when we were talking about Macron,
So angry.
and I was looking at him, and this was really the first time that I had seen his face.
Here.
I had read a lot about
Look
him.
at
but I
this
hadn't
guy.
seen
Look
his
into
face.
his eyes. He is a puppet. He's dead in
And
his eyes.
literally, you probably heard me. But the other day, we were talking about Macron, and I had done research on him, but I'd read a lot about him, but I hadn't seen his face. And literally, his face pops up, and the first words out of my mouth were, "Oh my gosh, he's a child. He is a child," just from looking at him. And I want to take you back to something that we learned through the dealing with the heroin addicts and the drug addicts, as the age that they start using drugs is the age that they stay mentally until they stop using drugs, and then they can continue to advance in age. It's not really because of the drugs. It is because of the drugs, but it's because your mind is twisted. And what has happened to Macron is he has had a drug since he was 15 years old. We all know the endorphins that happen and things like that. And he became addicted to this woman.
This lifelong
and he feeds,
sexual affair.
Exactly, and he feeds off of it. And so literally what comes out from his face, and I was like, man, dude, I know how to peg him. Because I'm not trying to like boast myself, but like I saw a child, and now it all makes sense.
You can see in his eyes. He's still stuck at like 15 years old when the teacher hit on him.
Exactly.
This was not a mutual love, okay?
No.
This is not what happens. This is, and so I'm
of course,
like,
the 15-year-old boys, all you guys 15-year-old boys fell in love with your young, hot teachers.
but you know what? They're like your mothers, and they say, oh, that's
nice,
sweet,
yeah.
that's nice. Now go play with your friends. Go away.
All right, do you have Nigel to bring these people?
Yes, I'm sorry, but I wanted to bring to the fact that he's all cool with migrants, and you know he's cool with Islam. You want to know why he's cool with Islam?
Because he's good with pedophilia?
Because he's cool with it. He's cool with like any sort of dynamic that is broken and messed up in the head.
Right.
Okay? It's just the same thing as Islam when they start grooming girls and putting them under their feet. This is just the same thing, just with a different mind. This woman has groomed this child into a man-child.
It's like Big all over again with Tom Hanks.
Oh, yes, that's exactly what this is. How many of you watched Big? Okay? That was creepy as a kid. That was creepy. And
you know
realized,
what?
oh, you're a
At
child.
the end of the story,
Oh.
y'all kind of want Tom, because y'all love Tom Hanks. At the end, you kind of want him to stay there, but you know deep inside he's got to go back to being a child.
And you know that,
Okay.
like, he's acting like, hey, I'm gonna be on top, and it's like the top bunk. Duh. And she's like, oh, never mind. We're not gonna go there. Wow.
Wise words from Nigel Farage.
I've seen, Obama backing Monsieur Macron, Mrs. Merkel backing Macron, and the European Commission in Brussels, who are supposed to be neutral, backing Monsieur Macron. The polls say that she's a long way behind, 20 points behind.
Child face.
All I would say to you is this man Macron
I can't even see his
has
face
never
anymore.
been elected to anything. He's never been tested under fire. I listened to his speech last night. It was utterly vacuous. He had no policy at all, other than to say he'll defend the status quo.
He's a child, that's why. He's a child, man. He's a man-child. So he goes on to say that Merkel's migrant policy saved our dignity. French left socialist president. He says that the open door mass migration policy has saved our collective dignity, and warned that criticism of Merkel was a disgusting simplification. He has already been quoted as saying that terror is here to stay in France. It's going to be part of our daily lives.
Right.
He is a puppet for Rothschild bankers, Soros bankers. He's a puppet, and she's also quoted as saying, he better run now because in 15 years my face won't look good. She's probably had a ton of plastic surgery. She's known to walk around in fancy things. Oh, and if it matters, she's from a chocolatier family making millions of dollars or whatever. She's just an elitist who feels like she can go pick up little boys, groom them, and she has a little boy toy, and she's made him.
And she's groomed him for the president of France.
And so she tells him what to say, which is why when he speaks, it just comes out blah.
Right.
But
you almost heard it when we covered the phone call from Obama. He kind of felt like a little kid.
He did. Oh, hi, thank you, Mr. Obama. Thank you for calling me. Okay, goodbye. You know, it's like, it's beyond ridiculous. So if France, it's not the 24 or 25-year-old age difference. It's the fact that he was picked up and groomed as a young child. As a young man, a child. He's still a child.
All right, we need to sign off here so you guys can be able to
in tears. I don't know if I can stay away from him. He's my boy toy. That's what she said.
I'm sorry, I don't have much.
Oh, did I say that? She said that she Brigitte, and they cried, Brigitte, you're awesome. I love you. French people are so sick, and those French people.
Hang on.
She said those French people are sick for saying that. We're obviously backing and supporting
Le Pen and all of France.
The French.
Two French clubs here. Let's rewind
this would be wrong.
Yes.
Anyways, she said that when he was 17, I think I told you, you will grow up. Not you will grow up. We had nothing about growing up. We will get married one day. And the other one thing I wanted to point out that was really driving me insane was he was quoted as saying they had to make the decision very early on in their relationship that they would not have children because he's 15 and she's 40 and getting up there. So they had to decide, and I kept trying to do the ages, like 43, 44. They had to decide while he was still a minor.
Yeah.
Whether he would be able to father any kids. And she's like, I had 3 kids. I don't have any kids. So she took away his ability to have kids. And then he's quoted as saying, it's okay because I have my children and my grandchildren. You don't have children if you're the same age and they're 2 years older than you. What kind of upside down world is this? My child is 2 years older than me.
Well,
my
obviously the child isn't a child anymore once the child is in their 20s, unless your name is Macron.
We can also look forward to getting him set free and ask anybody in France, this lady molested somebody else, please come forward.
Yes.
Guy, she's telling him all this in when he's 15, 14.
Yes.
There are other boys she's probably saying the same thing
I like
at
this.
the same time.
Beep, 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 beep. This is in America. If you're not used to America, this isn't. You won't understand this, but it's beep, 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 beep. This is a public service announcement. If there is any person in France that has already been molested by Brigitte, you need to come forward now. Because I'm sure you exist. Even if you're embarrassed. You are talking about your entire country's countryness.
Okay. I could go on. I'm just so angry right now. I'm just spitting nails.
Success!
The fact that here's the thing, you guys, I am younger than she was when she hooked up with this dude. I don't care. It boggles my mind that she could see him that way. The idea that she can is mean that she is a predator. She needs to be locked up in prison, not your first lady or your president.
It's the exact same thing.
She needs to be in prison.
See, when we see murderers, they're psychopaths. They literally cannot think like a normal person.
Exactly.
All right, you guys, this is Leah Michelle signing off for Resistance Chicks, where it is not just a conspiracy theory if it's a truth. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Fake 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring that bell for notifications because you know you want to see more crazy videos like this. And find us on Facebook and Twitter. We love you guys. God loves you. God bless.
Oh, and Hillary Clinton has sexual perverts. Everybody's sexual pervert.
I was cold all alone. No place for home every day. So afraid, but you call